teachers here? Okay, well, quite a number as well. Right. Anyone, parents who your child is in a flipped classroom? No, okay, good. Any teachers here who are flipping? That is, you are in a flipped classroom? No, okay, good. So most of you, I can assume that you are relatively new to flipped classroom. Yeah, right, thanks. So let's start. This is the journey that we're going to go through. So this is what we can expect from now to about 12 class. Understand how an alternative learning form, the flipped classroom, works. So I will experience a little bit for yourself how the flipped classroom works. Okay? Can you all hear me behind? Am I okay? So I don't need the mic. Alright, before we start, I think it's better that my students tell you what flipped classroom is. So you are going to hear from them what the flipped classroom is and what they like about the flipped classroom. So just sit back and enjoy. I'm sorry about the lights, they can't dim the front lights, so this is the best that they can do for us. Yeah. By telling you the journey that we're having. Last year, last year I started flipping my class in semester 2. Then this year, I actually got on board a few more teachers. So the whole, this year I'm teaching primary 5 level. So the whole primary 5 level actually is now going into the flipped classroom. So what we have seen is a very powerful way of learning. And so right now, I just want to share a bit of why did I flip my classroom last year. So there are 3 main reasons why I did that. And I will go through each reason in detail. Okay, the first one was limited class time. I think, the teachers who are here, you will understand and empathize with me that our class the time is very limited. The time is very precious in class because there are so many things that in class we need to do. And teaching is a challenge because of the numerous things that happens. And I needed to get them to master the concepts. So that was, of course, the main aim of why we are in the class. We need the kids to understand the content, master the concepts. But at the same time, as teachers, we are not just teaching them to pass an exam. That is not our focus as teachers. We want to develop our kids in a holistic manner. We want them to develop the character. We want them to develop their leadership skills. We want to build relationships with them. And all these takes time. So that was one of my challenges. I had very little time in class to do everything. And as the HOD ICT, it's my job and also my passion to introduce or integrate technology, to get kids to be using technology to learn. But that takes time as well because technology is a whole different ball game altogether, and it takes time for them to learn how to just simply log in, how to use a certain tool. So that takes time, and usually time for that is not factored in. So I found it a great struggle to try to engage my pupils. I wanted them to learn on their own pace, but that again is not a luxury that sometimes we have because we need to finish the syllabus. Exams are coming next week. I cannot just wait for you to slowly figure out the material, take your own sweet time, play games all the time. Yeah, my kids, they love games, but then there will come a point and say, I'm sorry, we need to go and practice for exams. So that is a reality that as teachers we face. So time is a big factor. Now the next one is, last year in my class, I had a huge range of learners. For math, I had as high, for the exams, they scored as high as 90 odd. So the A's, in P3 they were considered band 1. Then I have as low as a band 4 student, or a group of band 4 students, as low as scoring 30 over, that means they are failing quite badly. So I have a big group of learners. So then I was asking myself, how do I engage this group of children? It is very difficult because some they are very good. They already know the content because they have help at home or they have tuition teacher and all these things. But I have the other spectrum where they are really struggling. They have not mastered the concept since P3, since P1, P2, they are really struggling with the concept. So now they're in my class, how do I engage them? So I have actually 3 groups. One group is on task, they're okay. They are following the lessons, they are okay. The other group is the board, because these are my high ability learners. They come to class, they say, I already know how to add fractions, I already know how to do my multiplication table, I already know all this. Why are you teaching me the same thing that I already know? So they get bored. And I have another group that has just no idea what's happening. It's all just words that you are telling me, I have no idea. So then, when it comes to me, in the past last year, what I did was like this, basically lecture style. Standing in front of the class, I would explain concepts like what I'm doing now. So some of you may understand what I'm saying. Some of you will be like, what's he saying? I don't know. Some of you, okay, you are fine. So the same thing happened in my class. And what would happen is, my struggling learners, because they're confused, they will get bored and they will be up to mischief. My high ability learners also will get bored, they will also come up to mischief, and then I have to spend time scolding them, telling them sit down, don't move around. So a lot of time and a lot of energy is wasted to do this, to discipline them, to get them on task and all these things. So again, I was asking myself, there can be a better way of doing it. I was very frustrated as a teacher because this method, me standing in front, talking to them, explaining to them, is very difficult. Even if I wanted to do a class discussion, okay, we have an interactive class discussion. I can't be asking every and 40 pupils in my class. I can't be asking every 40 pupils to share their thoughts. It will take too much time, and the shy ones will be very shy and say, don't call me, I don't want to talk. So that is not effective. And I wonder how many of you, your kids, when they do maths, this is how they do it. Write out a problem and then they'll cry. Because it's just so difficult. And I think as parents, as educators, we know, especially for math, it's getting more and more difficult. And pupils, our kids are struggling. I'm worried when my sons go to primary school, whether they will be struggling with the same thing that my kids are, my pupils are struggling with. So it's very difficult. So homework is frustrating. And usually what I will do is, in my traditional classroom, I will teach. And then, because I take so long to teach, and there will be a lot of distractions, trust me. Somebody at the door, can I see this pupil? The bell will ring, the announcement will go, this student say I want to go toilet. So a lot of distractions along the way. So I want to take time to explain. What will they do? Either they will say, I don't know. And when they say, I don't know, they will give up. So they say, I don't know, okay, I'll give up. So give up, they come back, when they hand it, it's blank. Or, the other extreme, they will copy. So that's why before class you said, don't copy. Why is yours the same as your friends? Because they don't know. And I can't blame them because I'm sending them home with the hard stuff. I'm sending them home with the difficult work. And so that needed a change. And that was what prompted me to look at how I can change the way I teach. Because there is a big problem and it's not an effective way. So then I asked this question, what is the best use of my face-to-face class time? And this is a question that, as teachers, we always ask ourselves. Because the time that we see our kids is very precious. That 30 minutes, that 1 hour is very precious. So I want to maximize the class time. And traditionally, well, in class, there are two main parts to teaching. One is the content delivery. The kids don't need to know the content. They need to know how to do 1 + 1. They need to know the times table. They need to know how to add fractions. These are content that they need to know. They need to know what is heat, what is electricity. All this content they need to know. But yet, at the same time, they need to apply what they know. And traditionally, I spend a lot of time with the content, downloading content, like what I'm doing now, talking, explaining the concepts. And then, that last portion of the class time, then I get them to apply. And usually, because of the lack of time, I send them home to try and apply on their own. So, that was where I actually found out about the flipped classroom. So the flipped classroom, in essence, basically flips the entire process. Where can I get them to go home to learn the content? Because that is easy. To learn the content is easy. It's just learning the content, remembering the concepts. That is easy. It's the applying part that they will need help. And that's why we engage a lot of tuition teachers. I think the tuition agencies, they are reaping, because a lot of kids, they just simply don't know how to do. And that's where the tuition teacher comes in to help them to apply. But isn't that what schools are for? So this was really what I was thinking about. And by flipping my classroom, I was able to get them to spend time with the content. Now the other problem with downloading or teaching class is, some of you may not like to learn in the morning. We all have teaching styles. Some of us may have rushed down, you are very tired, you haven't had your coffee, you haven't had breakfast, you're hungry, you are not in the right frame of mind to learn. But yet you are here. You have to be here because at 11 o'clock I will start. And you cannot stop me. And if I'm talking too fast, which I tend to because when I get nervous, I'll talk fast. And if you, hey, what did he say? You can't tell me, sorry, can you rewind yourself and repeat again? I mean, I can do that, but after a while, you ask me to do it 3 or 4 times, your friends around you will get irritated. Why is this person, something wrong with this person? They're always asking me to repeat, always asking the teacher to repeat himself. So after a while, then they'll get, okay, I better not ask questions in class. So that is what will happen to them. Or, your phone will go off, and you're like, okay, I'm checking my phone, okay. Hey, what did I miss? Or after you go home, after this session, you go home, then, what did this fella in front say just now? I can't really remember. So these are some problems with learning in class. But with videos, there lies a new dimension or a new way of learning, which I'll elaborate further. Okay, so this was what I did, and this is the traditional way of flipping classroom. We call this the flip classroom 101. This is a starting point. This is when we start to flip the classroom, where we bring the content back home. And when they come to class, now when we are in class, there's no need for me to teach the content because they already learned the content. Let's say I need them to know how to add fractions. They've learned that at home. So when they come to class, what do? I no longer need to teach them how to add fractions. But what I can do in class is get them to employ. And that's where I can give them problems. I can challenge them. I can bring them up to really what we call higher order thinking, which is something that I used to not be able to do because I used to only get them to remember and understand the concept. And that is very low order. That is not difficult. Right? So basically learning content at home. So this is this is a picture of one of my students. Because I asked him, can you just take a picture of how you learn at home? Because I'm a bit curious, how do they learn? And one of the advantage is, well, this is the videos that I create. And the advantage of them learning at home is it becomes very self-directed. Because they can choose when they want to learn. They are not bounded by the time and the place. Some people don't like to sit on chairs. Like him, he prefers to sit on the bed. What's wrong with that? That is a good way of learning. I mean, of course, eventually the bad posture is not so good. That's another matter. And the more powerful thing is he can pause and rewind. If he needs to go to the toilet, he doesn't have to worry. He doesn't have to hold his pee and wait till the lecture is over. Some of you may be doing like, okay, I don't want to go out. I need to hold my pee. So he can pause, go, or if he's tired, sleepy, he can pause me, go get a drink, get fruits. My kids say, yeah, very good, I can eat popcorn while watching you. Great. So that is how they learn. That is how they enjoy the learning process. And they can rewatch. Some of my kids will say they do rewatch the videos on a mobile device. I mean, I upload my videos on YouTube, and YouTube can be accessed anywhere. Handphones, iPads, tablets, computers, anywhere. So they can actually watch videos in school, they can watch it at home, on the bus, on the train, virtually anywhere. So that is the power that the video brings to us. And then what do we do in class with our plan? And this is really where I can get them to work on their problems. And it's really student-centered because my fast learners will move on faster. They will say, okay, I know, I will move. They will finish the work very quickly. And then what I do, I will stretch them, I will give them more things, I will give them challenging questions. And they are not bored because they are being challenged. But yet at the same time, my slow learners, I'm not hindering them. I'm not moving the whole class so fast that they are like, hey, slow down, I can't catch up. Because I can spend time with them. Sit with them, one-to-one with them, or one to a small group, help them along the way. So this gives me time to go in, to help them. And while I'm helping a small group, other groups can have their own interaction, their own discussions, because their friends are there. And this is where they can learn from one another. And I think one of the things about learning is when we learn from our peers, it's more powerful because their friends will be able to explain something in a better way or a more simplified way as compared to language. Because sometimes we tend to use very big words and then they're like, what? We don't understand the words. But then when their friends say it, it becomes different. Okay? And hands-on, this was something I could not do before I filled my classroom. Very little time for hands-on because it takes time to get them in groups, get them to do projects. So right now my class it's a vibrant class. And really if you step into my class, it's very messy. Because people are like talking and they're just doing work, it's very noisy. So some teachers will be like, this is not learning, this is noise. But yet, they are learning. And I have time to get them to do videos, get them to do projects. A lot of things happen in the class. And so that is that whole power of the flipped classroom. So then why videos? Actually, flipped classroom is not a new concept. I mean, as students, when I was my teacher used to say, okay, today homework, read page 5 to 10. Tomorrow we'll talk about this. This is actually flipped classroom. You go home, you learn the concept. But I think me being KN, I didn't read now, obviously. And a lot of our kids, if you tell them, go read this, it's boring to them. And it is difficult to understand. Especially if you have problems with the language itself. So reading comes difficult already. But video, it basically brings content to life because of there are many possibilities to videos. I can actually film myself doing something, so I can do a demonstration using a video, which in the textbook they can't. They do step by step, but it's not visual, it's not real. I can be writing through the video and explain the concept, and there is both visual and audio. So I am teaching them, and my kids, they love it because they say, Mr. you are now with me at home. So basically, they have my voice in their ears most of the time. Then I told them, if they can't sleep, just listen to me, and then you will fall asleep very soon. But anyway, so the whole element of visual and audio, it's very powerful. And videos are, like I said, very easily accessible. YouTube is almost, you throw a spoon at any child, they will know YouTube. They will have gone to YouTube. So it is that powerful, right? And I think the most powerful thing is, like I mentioned, the 2 buttons, the pause and the rewind button. That makes learning so much more interesting and so much more different. When I was a kid, we were frantically copying down like what some of you are doing, PowerPoint slides. And then if I miss, wait, back. Okay, then we have to wait. So a lot of these problems come in with traditional teaching, right? So what are some of the rewards that I've seen? Obviously, engagement. Learning maths, especially in my school, it's not easy. They hate maths. But when I flip my classroom, I can see that the kids are excited. Even my weak learners, they are excited. Although they are still struggling, but they are excited because they are learning. And they can get help. I think that's the big thing. They can get help from either their friends or from myself. And so they really enjoy maths. Obviously, we can't run away from exam results. So I'm glad that last year, when I started flipping, in semester 1, I did not flip. So the SA1 results was not, I did the traditional teaching. But SA2 was when I flipped. So the whole semester 2, I flipped. And I was glad to see an improvement in their results. It's not like a fantastic leap, but I could see improvement. So that to me is a very powerful message that the flipped classroom has its merits. Now this is the most encouraging thing that happened to me. This was given to me by this boy in Kang. He just gave me the letter to read Teacher's Day, and this was what he said. You can read for yourself. But basically he said that he likes the maths classroom. And he likes the maths flipped classroom because it was fun and you can do group work together. Pardon the language because he just wrote it on the paper. So during your lesson, sometimes I was confused about the questions. I always keep asking you questions. After all the learning, I did pass the decimals test because I started flipping with the topic of decimals. So he says, I hope you can have more fun during flip, and I also hope the classroom can hold forever. So that to me was heartwarming and was very powerful.